Hello friends, welcome to my video series on analysis of indeterminate structures. So in this video series I will be dealing with some of the analysis of indeterminate structures. So I will be taking with the Kani's method at the start. I will try to explain you the Kani's method, the concept of Kani's method and everything using this simple numerical example. We'll see everything, each and everything one by one. Okay. Now you have been asked to analyze this simple beam using the Kani's method. Means you have to draw the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram. If I see regarding the beam has three spans AB, BC and CD. AB is having 4 meters, BC is having 6 meters and CD is also having 4 meters. So AB is having a load of 20 kN at the center. BC is having two types of loads. One is the uniformly distributed load of 15 kN per meter and an eccentric point load of 30 kN. CD is having a point load exactly at the center of 40 kN. Now each span has a different moment of inertia. AB is I, BC is 2I and CD is simply I. Now you have been asked to analyze this beam, that is you have to draw the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram using Kani's method. Let us start with the first step which we are very much familiar, that is finding fixed end moments. When I take up span AB, so the fixed end moment AB is given as minus WL by 8, that is minus 20 into 4 by 8. So this comes out to be minus 10 and MF BC as plus 10, that is plus 20 into 4 by 8, because MF AB becomes an anti-clockwise moment and MF BA becomes an clockwise moment. Now once I come back to span BC, so in span BC if you notice there are two loads, right? So we don't have an exact formula to calculate the fixed end moment when two loads are acting together. Means of course they are acting together. Now what we have to do is, here we have to use the principle of superposition. What I am doing here is I am first finding the fixed end moment due to UDL, that is minus WL square by 12. Okay, then to that I am adding the fixed end moment that because of this 30 kN. So since 30 kN is at eccentric, so it comes out to be minus 30 into 4 into 2 square by 6 square. Now why I have used a minus sign both sides is because the fixed end moment BC becomes an anti-clockwise moment even though it is, if it is a UDL or a point load, so it is an anti-clockwise moment. That's why I'm using the minus sign. So once I do that, so I'm getting minus 58.33. Similarly, MFCB is for both UDL and for both point load, it is a clockwise moment, so I'm using plus in both the cases. So because of UDL it is plus 15 into 6 square by 12 and because of point load it is 30 into 2 into 4 square by 6 square, that you know already. So this comes out to be minus plus 71.67 kilonewton meter. Now when I come to span CD, so fixed moment CD is given as minus 40 into 4 by 8, that is minus WL by 8, coming out to be minus 20 kilonewton meter, and MFDC is coming out to be plus 40 into 4 by 8, which comes out to be plus 20 kilonewton meter. So I have just quickly summarized this finding fixed end moment because we are already familiar with finding the fixed end moments. So you have to refer the standard tables and standard formulae you have to remember, and you have to calculate the fixed moment. So only care what you have to take is whenever there are two loads which are acting on the same span, so you have to find the fixed moment both of them separately and add them together. That is giving respect to the sign convention, that is anti-clockwise as negative and clockwise as positive. So that care you have to take whenever you are finding the fixed end moment. So that we have already seen while finding the fixed moment, that of BC and CB. Okay, so this is our first step wherein we already found the fixed end moments. Now in step 2 we have to calculate something called as rotation factors. In moment distribution method we used to call it as a distribution factors. Now in Kani's method we have to calculate something called as rotation factor. So that rotation factor is given by this formula, that is minus half of, in the bracket, K. K refers to the stiffness factor, which we already know how to find from the moment distribution method. So this is a stiffness factor. Okay, and summation of K is the summation of the stiffness factors. Now we will see how to find the rotation factors. Now where we actually need to find the rotation factors is we have to find the rotation factors at B and C only, and not at A and nor at D. And how to judge that now? Now don't think like whenever there are intermediate supports, for that only we have to find the rotation factors. No, it is not like that. The concept is very simple. The nodes which are able to rotate, okay, I'm repeating once again, the nodes which are able to rotate, at those points only we have to calculate the rotation factors. Now when you see this beam ABCD, A is fixed, so it cannot rotate. D is fixed, that also cannot rotate. But B and C are rollers that can rotate. Okay, that's why I'm able to means I need to find the rotation factors only at B and C, not at A and D, because A and D are fixed and they cannot rotate. That's why you should not find the rotation factors at A and D, but you need to find the rotation factors at B and C because they are able to rotate. Now I will put one simple table and demonstrate you how to find the rotation factors for each component which are joining at B and C. So the components joining at B and C are BA and BC, and that at C are CB and CD. Let us just draw a table now.